Hey everybody, it's Boo Ray Perry from Tampa, Florida, and today we are going to talk about my 7 must-have accessories for the Fuji X100V. Let's get started. Alright, as always, I want to remind you to check out my podcast. Me and my friend Gary Hughes have been doing this podcast for about 3 years now. 5 years now. It's been a long time. It's every week. It's called Photobomb, and it's available anywhere that podcasts are found, and I promise you're going to like it. Also, join my group on Facebook. It's called Pro Photo Talk with Boo Ray Perry. We have a great community of photographers there, and it's a great place to talk about gear or ask questions, and everybody's very friendly to each other, so I would love to have you join. All right, I tried to make this list today, and it was kind of hard because I couldn't figure out how to approach it, because is it the gear that's most important to me or that I like the most, or is it the gear that I can't do without? You know, because those aren't necessarily the same thing. Some things that you love, but you could do without, right? So I decided what to do. What I would do is I would say, okay, if I was leaving my house and I had my camera and I could only take one thing with me, what would it be, right? If I could only take 2 things with me, what would they be? So that's the basis for this list. I'm not saying any of these things are necessarily better. I'm just saying that if I could only have one thing, what would it be? And number 1 on my list, easily, is this. The Lensmate thumb grip for the Fuji X100V. And I want to point out that everything I'm going to talk about is in the description. And also there's a link in there that will take you to my gear page, and that's where I list all the gear that I carry, my professional gear, this camera. Right now I'm shooting this video on a Fuji X-T4. If you're a subscriber to the channel, you know that I just switched to the Fuji X-T4, and that's why my video looks different. Look, so much nicer, right? Also, I look horrible because the video is so good. So keep that in mind when you upgrade. Go there, check out my gear stuff, and if you buy anything from the links there, I get a few pennies, and it helps me to buy more accessories. So I love this, and I couldn't live without it. The minute I bought this camera, and this is my 3rd time buying a Fuji X100 series camera, the first thing I bought was this. Once you've got it, you get so addicted to it that you can't imagine not having it. So it's absolutely number 1 on my list. Number 2 on my list, you have to understand, this is number 1 is so far ahead of everything else. You know, it actually starts to get more difficult when we get to number 2. But I would say that probably if I could only have one other thing, that number 2 on my list would probably be my lens hood. Right? Now, I love lens hoods. I love them so much that I have a bunch of lens hoods. Right? Lens hoods are like neckties. You know, you wear whichever one you feel like wearing that day. And here's the thing about lens hoods. Someone is bound to go into the comment section of this video and say, you know, I just use something that's practical. Listen, we don't have enough things in our life that we do just because we love them. And the older you get, the harder it is, right? I have a friend, my next door neighbor, he loves sports cars. So he has a really nice sports car, but I don't care. As long as my car gets me somewhere, I don't care. I have another friend, he loves shoes. I don't care. As long as my shoes work, that's all I care about. Right? So if I can just find one thing in my life that I care about that is fun to me, even if it's frivolous to other people, then go with it. Enjoy it. And for me, the one thing is lens hoods. No, it's not. It's accessories for my camera. I love to accessorize this camera. And that's why I have several lens hoods for this camera. So right now I'm favoring this one, the round one. I like it because it's unobtrusive and it's small and it makes the camera look kind of unique. But the main reason I have to have a lens hood is because with a lens hood, you don't have to have a cap for your lens. You can just let the lens hood serve as your deterrent, and I like that. I like to be able to just grab my camera, take pictures, and put it away without having to constantly worry about, oh, where am I going to put this cap now? What am I going to do? So lens hood is number 2 on my list. Number 3 on my list is probably what you were expecting to be number 1 on my list, and that's my strap. It's not number 1 on my list because this camera is so small that I can easily imagine just going out carrying my camera or sticking it in my pocket, right? So I could get around without a strap. This would be number 1 on my list if I was talking about my big camera. But with my little one, yeah, this is fine. But this is number 3 on my list, right? I like this strap. I love this strap. It's very retro. Once again, this strap is not picked for comfort, even though it is very comfortable. It's soft and cottony. If I went full non-comfort strap, I'd have a leather strap because that's really cool. But I know that that would dig into my shoulder eventually. So I got this nice one here, and I really like it. And it's nice and it's pretty, and it doesn't have a lot of buckles and stuff all over it, which I really like. So you can take this and just wrap your camera up and stick it into a bag much easier than if you have a big wide strap. And that's why I like this. But if I was going to go, you know, around the world or go on a 30-month trip where I was going to be hiking with my camera, then I would probably replace this with a different strap, probably with a Peak Design strap, which is also on my gear page. I use a Peak Design strap on my big camera, so you can check that out. But this is the strap. This is number 3. Number 4 on my list. Number 4 is kind of tricky because I don't like to put filters on my camera. I'm just not a big fan of filters. I feel like you have this very expensive glass on your camera, and then you go and you put a cheap piece of glass in front of it. And I know that it doesn't make a difference, but I've just never been a fan of it. I don't like to make the lens any longer than it has to be. However, when the Fuji X100V came out, they finally weather sealed the camera. But because the front of the camera, because the focusing mechanism moves in and out, they couldn't weather seal that part. So if you want to truly weather seal the camera, you have to put a filter on it. So a simple Hoya filter, a UV filter, or even a piece of clear filter will do the job for you just fine. I don't keep it on my camera, but if I was going on vacation or something, I would absolutely have it in my bag so that if it was a rainy day, I could put this on the front of my camera and know that my camera is weather sealed. Number 5 is tough because it's kind of a toss-up between two things. And now we're starting to talk about accessories that they're not necessarily must-have, but I really would kind of want to have them with me if I was going on a trip or going someplace where I didn't know what I was going to be shooting. They're kind of interchangeable, but we'll go ahead and say that number 5 is my flash, and that's the Tt350 Flash from Fuji. Now, if you don't know much about how to use an on-camera flash, and especially if you don't know how to use bounce flash, you really need to go watch my video on that because you are going to be amazed at what you can do with a Fuji X100 series camera and this little flash sitting right on top of the camera. I'll put the link right up here for you. I love to have this flash with me because it doesn't weigh too much, right? It's not too big and bulky. You can just put it in your bag, and then if you are someplace where suddenly you need to take good flash pictures, like, you know, if you're at a holiday party or if you're, I go to an awards banquet or something like that, I've got my camera with me. I don't want to use the little direct flashes on this camera. I want to bounce flash. I want to get something that looks a little more professional, and this flash gets the job done for me. So this is number 5 on my list of must-have accessories. Number 6, which is pretty much interchangeable to number 5, is this. It's the wide-angle lens for the Fuji X100 series. It's the, what's it called again? Let me look it up real quick here. It is called the WCL X100. The WCL X100. This is the 2, which means that when you put it on your camera automatically recognizes what it is and adjusts itself correctly. If you have the 1, the camera doesn't recognize what it is and you have to go in and set something in your menu. It's not a big deal. I have really been surprised at how much I use this lens since I bought it. I almost never take it off my camera now. In a way, maybe it shouldn't even be on the list because it's almost a part of my camera. I rarely do not have this on my camera. If my camera's just sitting around downstairs in case I need it for taking pictures of the kids or something, this is on because I know I'm not going to miss a shot with this lens. I could miss a shot with this lens because I'm too close, but I'm not going to miss a shot with this because I'm too close, because you can't, I mean, I could be too close, but it wouldn't be through any fault of mine. You can't get any wider than this on the Fuji X100 series. So I really do like this, and I encourage anyone who is thinking about it to try it because I think you'll be addicted to it, and there's a link in the description on the gear page to this as well. So that brings us to number 7, the final thing. And the final thing is my bag. And this is almost number 1 on my list because when it comes to leaving my house with my camera, I can absolutely go without this bag. Sure, I can leave without this bag all day. But when it comes to traveling with my camera, I've never gone anywhere without this bag. So in a way, it could be number 1 on my list. This is the Think Tank Mirrorless Mover 30, and I adore this bag. Here's the simplest thing that they do at Think Tank that is so smart, and it amazes me that no one, well, a couple of people do it, but everyone should do that. Every bag should be this way. When you're carrying this bag on your hip, the flap opens away from your body. Why aren't all bags this way? All bags, right? Instead of going like, you gotta open the flap towards your body and now you gotta hold the flap out of the way and you gotta try and look over and dig in. No, you just go, boom, you get whatever you want and you close it again, right? It's so simple and it makes so much sense. that now that I've got a bag like this, in the rare occasions when I'm looking at bags and thinking about, yeah, maybe I'll try another bag, if it doesn't open out, I don't even consider it. Sorry, no, not going to happen. Once you've had a bag that opens out, you can never go back. I've got mine configured with 3 pouches in here. Right, it's got another pouch in front with a little magnetic snap on it here and a zipper, so I can throw all these accessories right in the front, and then here in the bag part, I can just take my camera and stick it in there. Headphones for the trip on the plane. Do I need something to drink? Sure, that'll go in there too. Well, this is a little bit bigger. I'd put it, you know, but it will. Trust me, a normal water bottle fits in here, no problem. There we go. Boom. And I'm ready to go. Right? I got my camera, I got my accessories. The flash will go right here on the outside. Everything I need is right there. Everything for a plane trip. And I can just strap it right to my rolling luggage before I get on the plane. So this is number 7 on my list, but in many ways it should be number 1 on my list. That's it. That's my list. Those are the 7 must-have accessories. Now remember, there are other accessories that I love. I love this case. I got this case just a few days ago for Christmas, and I absolutely adore it, but it's not must-have. You know, I went without this case for years, but now that I have it, I really love it. But those are my 7 must-haves. Those are the 7 accessories that I've had pretty much since the day I got this camera, with the exception of this lens, which I just got this year, and I wish I had had it all this time. And those are the accessories that if any of them was lost or broken, I would immediately replace them. Listen, don't forget, say something in the comments. Tell me what I missed. I would really love you to turn me on to an accessory that I don't have for this camera that you love, or debate me, or just say hello. But join the channel, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and join me on Facebook in my group. I'll talk to you soon.